Hey, folks, how are we doing? Let me bring on our team here today. Hey, Hunting family, gonna have a little technical issues here as we get the show started tonight. Hanging out with you tonight, I'm Ron Mentzer of Mentzer Outdoors, and I got the usual suspects: Kris B from 3B and Josh B from Cookbook. How you guys doing?
Good, buddy. How are you?
You know the story, man. Living the dream, hanging out. We're sort of going to do a round table and hang out. We got a cool guest we're bringing on tonight to get everybody through their hump day. And
Hump day.
Yeah, Kris, you ain't been around in a couple episodes, man. You've been off with the family. How we missed you, bro.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, took some time in North Carolina and hung out and just detached, unplugged, unwind. Did some fishing, did some chilling.
We all need that.
Now we're back.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And Josh, you were you were in the deer stand tonight.
Yeah, man. Slow night though. I was literally wiping face paint off as we were coming on screen here. I just walked in the door, so I'm excited to fill in though. Lee was supposed to be here, so sorry, Lee. I'm sorry you're not here, but I'm glad you're not here. So
Lee had an issue at his job where he had to handle a big pipe. Let's just
say.
Yep.
Somebody has to do it. Somebody's got to do it.
Not a joke.
All right, well, guys, let's bring on our guest here. We got Johnny Simonetti from the Average Joe's Hunting Podcast. Johnny, how you doing, brother?
Good, fellas. What's happening, man? It's good to be here.
Yeah,
man,
buddy.
I appreciate it.
Glad to have you on, brother. I know we've been texting back and forth, and you and your crew, man, we really kind of connected with your podcast. You recently had me on, and you had Kris on from 3B. And why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself to the audience and tell them a little bit about what the Average Joe's podcast is about, because we dig it and we want our audience to sort of follow you guys on your journey as well.
Man, I appreciate it. Before I even get started, I don't do a lot of YouTube, and we don't do video. I'm lucky to get the audio out, but damn, y'all's intro is badass. I'm not gonna lie.
That's cool.
Your intro to your YouTube is pretty badass.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. We love it.
Well, my name, like you said, my name's Johnny Simonetti. I run the Average Joe's Hunting Podcast along with Kris Stivers and Mike Wilson, both members of Mountaineer Outdoorsmen. I've known these guys for probably 10, 11 years. And both of them could not make it tonight, which, I hate that. But we decided, I don't know, it's probably been 5 years ago, I wanted, to start a podcast. And I started with the Mountaineer Outdoorsman podcast, and I think we did 2 episodes. And I couldn't get the editing crap down, so I scrapped it. And then, a couple of years went by, and I'm like, you know what? I can do this. I had all the equipment, so here we are. We're like, I think, 79 episodes in now. Ron, you were on 75, and Kris, we had you on at 70, and Josh, we got you scheduled too, bub.
Come on.
Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I think that's a week from today, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I think Kris probably told you, once you break into our hunting family, this community, we'll get you some guests.
Oh yeah,
sure.
and shoot, you know what? I should have wrote the other one, guy. It's shoot, I can't remember who it was. But, yeah, Cody. Thank you. Yeah, Cody's already recorded with us too.
Awesome.
It's hard for me to, I'm not a tech guy. I'm not. I've never have been. Like I said, I scrapped it the first time, and I am horrible with scheduling, and trying to keep track of who's when and whatever. And I knew I had a guest this past Sunday, and I was freaking out. I went, oh, shit, who is it? I had to go back all through my messages. I'm like, all right, it's Cody. All right, got you, Cody. I texted him. I said, hey, we still good. But, man, we're just having a ball with it. The concept that I came up with was, somebody that goes out and kills a 200-inch whitetail, during the season, every podcast under the sun wants them on their podcast to tell the story. But we were more towards, I don't care if the 4-point comes underneath your stand and gets you fired up. We
Bingo.
want to hear that story.
Yes, sir.
I don't care if it's
that's this group. We
Yeah.
cover the gambit. We like
Yeah.
those we like those good tasting deer.
Oh yeah, yeah. So that's kind of the direction we went. I didn't follow a lot of podcasts, but I followed a few, and it just seemed like everybody wants to give you techniques, or they're talking about the biggest buck the big buck they killed this year. We pretty much, I'm almost 55. I've got my techniques down. I don't need to know what kind of sense to use and this, that, and the other. Just let me go set in the woods. Josh, just like you said, that's my happy place. It doesn't
Yes,
get
sir.
any better than that. So
Yep.
that's just kind of and I actually got my idea, and Josh, you brought them up today from the guys from the Outdoor Drive podcast, Trev and Steve. They had a segment on their podcast that they started, at one time, and it was called
Yeah.
Tales from the Tailgate.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when they stopped doing that, this is when I kind of got that idea. I'm like, you know what? That was a great idea. And I've told Trev and Steve both this. So they've been on our podcast, and I've told them, I said, this is where I got my idea from you guys. So, it's just like you said, like you all, like-minded people just hang out and have a good time and talk hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
love
that-
the concept. We love the concept. It's because we're just regular guys, and there's a
Mhm.
lot more regular guys out there than there are. I don't know how you want to say, like superstars,
Sure.
So if you can put out something that people can relate to, they gravitate toward it.
And like I said, that was our whole concept on getting this one started.
Yeah, there's nothing worse. I mean, there's some cool stuff out there, but Josh will tell you, Ron will tell you, whoever, listening to a podcast and it's nothing but sales pitches,
Mhm.
and you got to have this product. I don't care. I want to hear the story, man. I want to hear who you were with. I want to hear what you
Right.
had for breakfast after. That's the stuff that interests me. Tell me the whole thing. And really paint
Absolutely.
that picture. And I told you when I was on and us texting, man, just that kind of stuff really resonates with us. Just real people,
Mm-hmm.
out there just doing it, and it's
Absolutely.
just cool to me, man.
Yeah, and I know you guys with your podcast, you get guests on, you get guests on, and then you have to, coach them a little bit because, they come in and they tell a story, and you're only 15 minutes into a podcast. They're like, what the hell are we going to talk about for the next,
Yeah.
25, 30 minutes? But when you're dealing with people that are like-minded, like we all are, well, the next thing you know, boom, I've got to cut people off. Well, hell, we're an hour in by that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I try to keep them. It's got to be really good for me to be able to sit there and listen to a 2-hour podcast about hunting.
Right.
I'm not going to. I can't do that. You give me a good 45 minutes, and that is a perfect podcast for me.
Stories carry that 45 minutes really far too. It's
Yes.
just like
Yep.
that that tailgate conversation when you're having those tailgate talks. A 45-minute conversation at the tailgate, that you're getting into some storytelling,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the picture, that's the imagery. So
Yeah.
we
Well,
love what it's all about. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah. I just want to jump in for a second. I mean, me and Johnny have been texting a little bit. I really like his show, and I mean, as much as I like, the one that we're doing, Ron, just like when, we first got together, I'm asking him for tips. I'm asking him on what I'm saying? But I'm gravitating more towards it because, Kris, you'll remember this when we were growing up in the late 90s, even mid 90s, we had deer check stations. And man, that was awesome to go to those check stations. And I remember going there with my first deer, little doe, and people were pumped for me as a 13-year-old. Because they didn't care if it was a big buck or a little deer. They saw this kid coming in, and people were excited, and we loved hearing people's stories about their bucks. And we'd walk up to people we've never met before and shake their hands and hear their stories. And I don't know, that's just one of those things. That's what 3B is all about. That's what we love, and I think that's one of the reasons why we kind of are drawn towards this.
Yeah, I mean, and when I was on with Johnny, just texting, it's the same thing. Like, Josh and I talk about it a lot, and I don't know how it was in Virginia, but growing up in Maryland, if when our dad killed a deer, when we killed a deer when we were little, that deer went on tour.
Mm-hmm.
You took it to the check station. Our dad would come pick us up, and he had like a code. Remember, like we had a long driveway,
Yep.
and it
One
was I can't.
one.
Go ahead.
It was one beep. It was one beep for a doe, two beeps for a buck when he was coming up the driveway.
Yeah,
I love it. I
So
love it.
you could get the anticipation,
Yeah.
built up till dad
yeah,
makes it
and we
back to the
didn't.
house.
And we've said this a bunch, and it sounds like a broken record, but we didn't have satellite or cable TV till we were in high school. We had antenna TV, and we listened to baseball games on the radio. And we legitimately grew up in the log cabin in the woods, so we were outside. And Dad was hunting, so we knew, okay, it's dark. He'll be here in a half hour. We're waiting outside, and pick us up, go check it in. Then we might take it to the grandparents. Then we're going to get pictures here. Then we're going to take it to maybe the other grandparents or somebody at church that wanted the deer. And then we're going to take it to our uncle's dad who had like a butcher processing shop in his house. And there's people there hanging out, just doing the guy stuff, just like what you guys do, Ron. So
Mhm.
like that was cool. So when we can hear stories like Johnny and Kris and Mike telling us these stories, man, I mean, to me and Josh, it's like a time machine, man. It's just cool.
Bingo.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Just like you were saying, and I know I'm probably going to get some hate for this, but like you were saying that you get a deer, you kind of take it on tour. Well, the city I live in, it's kind of let's say what's the good way? It's kind of left leaning.
He's trying to
Okay,
be diplomatic.
I'm trying to be. I don't know how y'all. I
can-
know where we
We can
stand,
read
but I
between
don't.
the lines. We got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, if me or my buddy killed a deer on a Saturday morning, back then I had an '88 Jeep, Cherokee jacked up, deer rack on the back of it. If either one of us killed a deer, we literally took this thing down through the main strip in my town of Stanton, and you would hear people holler at us, cuss at us. Ooh, he turned their nose up, but I'm sorry. I had to do it. I hated to be that way, but and the person that got me started on that, I hadn't even got to Main Street. I was on a side road, and someone just yelled out, "You murderer!" And I yelled out the window, "You tree hugger!" And after that, you know what? It made up my mind. I'm going to ride through downtown every time I have a deer on the back.
Bingo.
Well, I had somebody at work the other day. They were offering me a plant, like an office plant. They couldn't keep it alive. I said, I don't want a plant. I'm a meat eater. 'Cause my brain
I love
goes
it.
right
Yep.
to that, and she didn't know what she thought it was funny, but you know what they say. These animals are just killing all the vegetables because that's their herbivores.
Yeah.
So I'm a secondhand vegetarian.
Yeah.
That's right.
I
right.
was laughing this year because I have a white truck, and Josh butchers most of our deer, and he lives about a half hour from me. I live in Pennsylvania. He lives in Maryland, and my boy killed his first deer, so I was going to take it there. It was the winter time. I put it in the back of the truck. I don't realize this thing is leaking. I mean, they cleaned it out, but it is leaking. And I get to my brother's house, and it's dark as hell. And it looked like a murder scene on the back of my truck. And it was actually too cold to like wipe it off. So I'm like, all right, well, this is just happening now, But
Yep.
that's the funny stuff. So Johnny, like we know your podcast background. Tell us about your hunting and outdoor background a little bit. How'd you get into it? What's that about, bro?
I mean, as far back as I can remember, I remember my grandfather Markham, as far back as I can. He would go out. He had a huge ass pike on his wall that he was always hunting and fishing. I
Deer
remember,
heads piled up in the corner of his.
Yeah.
you know what? I only remember 2 deer heads in his house, and I don't know if you all can see. But that one that's lowest is that one. I actually got that from him after he passed.
Awesome.
After my Uncle Howard passed away. I got that. My Aunt Joan gave that one to me, so I proudly have that here at my house. but I grew up. That's all I ever knew. I basically grew up in West Virginia most of my life. And West Virginia, there's only so many things you can do, and that's hunt, fish, and, you know, the other F word. But so you just remember, you know, your pop or your grandfather going out on especially Thanksgiving week and then coming back
Mm-hmm.
with a deer in the back of the truck. So that's all I ever knew. I started hunting when I was 12, when it was legal in West Virginia, and I think I killed a spike buck my first year. And I mean, that's just I've always loved it. You know, I, I went through one marriage, and and I didn't get to hunt that much, and we'll just say that's probably why she's my ex-wife. Um,
Contributing factor.
yeah, that didn't help things much, but you know, when I met my wife now, she grew up with hunting, so everything's been cool. She loves it. My daughter, she grew up eating deer meat. My boys
Mm-hmm.
grew up eating deer meat, so that's how it all got started for me, and I absolutely love it. Like the video that Josh posted yesterday or today, whenever it was about sitting in the tree stand, dude, I'm like, I can't wait to get in the tree stand.
No
We've
doubt.
had
You're talking
we've
about
had
the sun. You're
yeah,
talking about the sunset last night.
yes sir, yeah,
Oh man, I couldn't. It was like
man,
fire red. Like my wife was asking me, "Did you put a filter on your phone?" I'm like, "No." The sky was like on fire, and
hmm
it
Yeah.
was. I mean, I couldn't help but I'm sitting there watching for deer, and I'm like, I don't even care if I see a deer. This is
hmm
incredible.
yeah.
I have twin daughters, and actually their middle names are from the farm Josh is talking about because the area is called Shiloh. And I have a daughter, middle name is Shiloh, another one Sky, because the sunsets over there are just, you
Oh,
know,
that's cool. That's cool
Bob,
as hell, dude.
yeah, Bob Ross
Yeah,
type, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
So
cool.
yeah,
mean, it's not just the sunsets. I have one spot that's down at the bottom of this hill, and it's just all I can see is just this hillside full of what we call CRP grass. It's the 6 foot tall, just kind of field grass. And in the morning time, the sun comes up from behind me, and it just lights this whole field up bright red. So like when you're every single morning that I'm down there, like I have these patriotic songs like the Amber Waves of Grain in my
Yeah.
head, and I'm like, man, this is just incredible. So I'm gonna start posting more videos like that. People seem to enjoy those
yeah,
sunsets and sunrises and stuff. So you guys will be seeing lots of
Well,
that this year.
you know, Josh, we can all relate to it, you know, and that's the thing, you know, we're sitting around here talking about it, but we can all relate to what you're feeling when you're sitting outdoors and you're taking it in. It's an appreciation
Yeah.
for nature. It's
hmm
an appreciation for, you know, like we like to say, nature's our playground. Um, you know, and I thought I was laughing because you know one of the things Kris you like to say is, you know, when Johnny was saying earlier about you know not being the most technical guy, but we're all that way. You know, we'd rather be outdoors, you know, but here we are hanging around, you know, we're hanging out on line, having a conversation about hunting and fishing
yeah,
and that sort of stuff. So the technology is cool because we get to meet a lot of cool people and we connect over stuff like that, you know, just
hmm
the appreciation for, you know, those sunrises and those sunsets and that sort of stuff. So, um, I don't know. I where I hunt, I get a lot of like really, really awesome sunsets, you know, because I'm on a ridge on the top of a hill and part of the sky is that amber blue and part of it's still pink and red, you know, and you get
Yeah.
that color that it's just amazing. And I think anybody that's listening that follows a show like this or you know follows any guys like we are, they know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
All right. Now
Oh,
I have a question. I have a question for you, Johnny.
yes, sir.
So you have two other guys that are typically on your show with you.
Yes.
How did you get hooked? How did you get hooked up with those two?
All right. So this whole thing, I mean, even me being on Instagram, it all stems back to a group called Tattooed in the Wild. My brother, my buddy, who is his family, his name is Dallas Brewer. Him and Keith Sharrock, they became friends. It's probably been about 12 years ago in Ohio. Dallas is a tattoo artist, and Keith is a hell of a hunter, handyman. Anyway, they got hooked up together, and I have to let them tell the whole story. But anyway, Dallas said, "Hey, I want to do this. I want to hunt turkey." And then it stemmed from there. Keith took him. We call Keith the turkey zombie because he took Dallas turkey hunting, and Dallas got hooked. I mean, immediately. Dallas was, he was in the outdoors. He loved to fish, but he didn't do a whole lot of hunting. Well, being a tattoo artist, Dallas and Keith came up with this idea about tattooed in the wild. Everybody gets outdoor tattoos, okay? And whether it's your first deer, or your biggest deer, he was tattooing people with deer, and he's like, you know what? Let's put this together for a show. You come in, you kill a deer, and you're getting this tattoo. Well, then they started filming everything. So Dallas called me up and he said, Johnny, would you like to be a part of Tattooed in the Wild? I'm like, well, hell yeah, absolutely. So that's where it all started. And I was, I pushed their product. I sold I don't know how many shirts, and it was all going to be a show. And it's kind of, they had a couple opportunities, but things just didn't work out. So once I got with them, that's when I got on Instagram and I started following just everybody that had tattoos and hunted.
Yeah.
And that's how I met Kris. Kris Stivers is the first one I think I met. And then after that, I got up with Mike Wilson, and they owned Mountaineer Outdoorsman. And like I said, dude, that's been 12 years ago, and we have been friends ever since. I mean, me, Mike, and Kris, we talk to each other every day. There's not a day that goes by that we don't talk. And they run the Mountaineer Outdoorsman Facebook page, and we're all members. And we just go in and post something outdoors or something outdoor related every week. And like I said, and it's been a brotherhood with them guys. I mean, those guys are my family as well. 3 years ago, I ended up going in. Me and Kris both went into Mike's place in West Virginia, went bear hunting, and just had a great long weekend. And we didn't see any bear, but damn, we ate good.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the hanging out. That's what we all remember anyway. It's time spent together and stuff like that.
Yeah, we go to the Eastern Shore of Maryland to duck hunt every year. We're talking about it right now with some dates. And
yeah, we were just planning some dates today.
I think it's, we have more fun going to Popeyes or Chick-fil-A or wherever we're going to go and we're done. And I remember the other year we were talking about, we had gone to Chick-fil-A to eat dinner because, in the wintertime, there's not a ton open down where we're at. So we went to Chick-fil-A and the guy that I was with, my best friend, goes, man, I would love a milkshake. Oh, I'm saying it backwards. We actually went to KFC and Taco Bell.
Bingo.
And he goes, man, I would love a Chick-fil-A milkshake. And I said, listen, brother, you're 35 years old. Let's go. We're grown up. We can go get it.
And we did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
We did. We went to Taco Bell, and then we went next door to Chick-fil-A and got milkshakes. And we sat there and talked about not shooting ducks.
Yeah. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Right.
Well,
so,
hey, and just for the record, guys, I just figured out how to make my screen bigger, just so y'all know.
So you can see us now.
Yeah, I can see y'all a lot better now, man. I was looking at a little picture that was like this, and I just figured it out. So I was
you guys on the audio version, or Johnny couldn't see us, but he said I'm used to just doing an audio podcast, so I'll roll with it. But he figured it out.
Yeah, I mean, I can see you all. I can see you all a little bit, but I'm like. Yeah. Shit, if I met these guys on the street, I wouldn't even know what they look like. It's too small.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about doing video like this, because, we get to see face to face. We get to actually, put a face with the name, and we really get to know one another. So, one of the things that Kris loves to do is this segment, what's in your bag segment. So, Kris, why don't you kick it off?
Yeah, Johnny. So it's just something funny. Josh and I have Lucky Charms or snacks or things that we just take with us. So, I started trying to find out what people carry with them. So what's in your bag, man? You got a Lucky Charm? You got something you carry with you, tradition? What snacks? Or what's your favorite tool that you got to take with you when you go hunting, man? What's something that's in your bag all the time?
All right. So any season,
Anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're just
Yeah.
All right.
This is
So
just getting to know you.
turkey season. Anything from oh, see, now why am I having a brain fart? Mark, no. All right, so turkey season, anything from nor'easter game calls. Um, he's a call maker up north, and anything from him. I mean, I was the first when he started making his mouth calls. Sorry, I had my hand in the way. When he makes turkey pot calls and stuff. I'm not the best at the pot calls. But when he started making his first mouth calls, I ordered 2 sets, and I was actually the first one to kill a turkey using his mouth calls. So
Oh, that's cool.
anything from nor'easter game calls is always going to be in my bag. Um, let's see. I mean, I don't really carry anything special or as like a Lucky Charm or anything. But if I'm like I said, if I'm going turkey hunting, it's got to be nor'easter.
what's your
Okay.
favorite tree stand snack? What are you munching on?
I'm diabetic, so I don't. I always keep at least a Kit Kat, one of the small Kit Kats. I always keep at least a Kit Kat with me because if my sugar drops on me, I got to get something to eat pretty quick.
Yeah.
Ron knows him too, but Josh and I have a real good friend that has another podcast, Mike Beecham from Mountain and Marsh, and he's like one of the goofiest guys. He's funny, great talker, just a goofy guy. But when he hunts, it's like I'm on a mission for the Green Berets. So I'm like, what do you take with you? He goes, a granola bar and a can of dip, and that's what he snacks on. That's his day. Maybe a bottle of water, right?
All
So
right, all right. So since you said that, I'm
okay,
gonna have to have my Kodiak.
There you
okay,
go.
Okay, I
Kodiak
gotta have
man.
my Kodiak, and I
Okay,
gotta have a Diet Mountain Dew.
Hmm.
okay,
So
get on that.
Okay.
now, since you brought it up like
What's
that, then
more
yeah,
American than that, you know?
Listen,
Kodiak and Diet Mountain Dew.
I stopped eating a lot of sugar about a year ago, and Diet Mountain Dew is the reason I probably have not murdered people because I
Oh
have
yeah,
to have one of those every once in a while. But
yeah.
that's cool,
Well,
man.
So, Josh, why don't you? I know you got a question that you ask every guest about a preference
Yeah.
of a cut of meat.
Yeah.
So,
So
why don't you lay that on Johnny?
I'm taking a poll, and the poll right now is leaning in my favor, 5-4. You have a white-tailed deer hanging in front of you and a knife
hmm
in your hand, and you're going directly inside to eat something. Are you taking the backstrap, or are you taking the tenderloin or the fish loin, whatever you guys call it, down your way?
backstrap,
6-4.
backstrap,
You never asked
backstrap,
me. You've never asked me.
Okay,
backstrap.
Chris, what are you taking?
The answer is whatever you give me because you butcher the deer.
That's a good.
You're gonna
Josh
eat
is
what he
putting
gives you, buddy.
I mean, I would say if it's right off of there, Josh, and we're doing it right there, you got to take the fish. I'm taking that. But
Hey,
I don't like it all.
we got a
Okay,
rule
let's.
at our hunting camp, and that's you don't complain about the cooking, or you become the cook.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Bingo.
so you eat what's put in front of you. And, my brother for years has been camp cook. He does a great job, bang up job. He keeps us well fed. And, I don't know what he made like last year, 2 years ago, he made something and it was awful, and he's like, man, you guys are a bunch of liars. Cause ain't nobody saying nothing. He knew it was bad, but none of us would say a word about it. Cause we didn't
Yeah.
want to become the cook.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
So yeah, whatever
That's
you bring, we're gonna eat and not worry about it. So
Well, Ron, I can tell you that you guys are going to be eating good at the pheasant hunt, buddy.
come on,
Yeah.
man, we're excited about that.
Johnny,
That's awesome.
the hunting group that we do 3B does a group pheasant hunt where we grew up. There was pheasants back in the day. I don't know how it is in Virginia, but there just isn't really anymore. So
Mhm.
Josh and he talked about it a minute ago, where we deer hunt has CRP grass in it. A friend of ours actually will release some, and we'll go kind of kick them up and take kids out and family out for the day. But Josh will always cook a couple up, and we'll have a little cookout afterwards. And kind of like what we were saying earlier, and I've said this before on the show, we almost look forward to that more than the hunt, hanging out afterwards and kind
Oh
of
yeah.
tailgating a little bit, and putting music on, and everybody laughing and high fiving and egging each other on. So
and
you know,
and making fun of the people who throw their 20 gauges in the mud.
not just the 20 gauge. Okay, we're gonna say this again. I've said this a couple of times on the show. So the property that we hunt, we've owned for a while. But my dad, as a kid, hunted that property.
Okay.
With his family. I thought it would be cool because I have one of my dad's uncles from the 50s Wingmaster 20 gauge shotgun. So I'm like, it's cool. I'm going to pheasant hunt here with these where they used to shoot pheasants. It's cool, man. They got a picture of me. They're filming it. I look like I'm from, it looks like one of those like 10 signs you win at a carnival from like old Field and Stream ads. I got my stuff on. I got my canvas on, whatever. Here comes a pheasant. I'm pulling up on this thing and I didn't rack a shell.
That'll teach you.
Yeah. And I mean, they got a picture of me and I have the picture. So, cause it's funny.
It's,
it looks like
it's
an ad.
perfect.
I'm drawn up on this thing. You can see the bird. I got so mad. I threw that shotgun in the mud like a javelin.
That's good stuff, man.
Walked
That's
away.
good
But
stuff.
yeah, that's what we have is fun. So talking about like funny stories, we have a couple questions for you, but we'll jump around a little bit.
Yeah.
What hunting and fishing and outdoor memories that you got that stand out to you, Johnny, from any time, from a kid or with your kids, or hit us with one.
I've got the bad thing is I got several. The most recent one, was with my daughter. My daughter was probably 8 years old, and again I was sitting in a hunting blind. It was turkey season, and Dallas was in filming this particular morning from Ohio, and I'll never forget it. We had two toms working across the field 300 yards away, and they're coming straight. They're on a beeline, man. They're straight coming towards us, and they are literally 20 yards away from being on our where I turkey hunt. I can't run and gun. I have to sit and let them come to me. All the property around me is hot as hell for turkey, but this just a little area where I have to hunt. So they have to get onto my property. These two birds were literally, I mean, I'm going to say 15 yards away from being on our property. She is on my lap. She has the gun up. I've got it on the sticks. And for me to hear her breathing, she was excited. She was so excited. I could just tell by the way she was breathing. And I mean, just 15 yards they had to come. Well, the next thing you know, a whole gang of turkeys 300 yards over across the field came out, and just gobblers were fighting. There was probably, I would say, 12 to 15 turkeys that came out across the, on the other side of the field. Well, these two toms, they just made a direct face and just took off across the field. And it was heartbreaking for me. And just to feel her excitement and to hear her breathing, because I knew she was excited. That was one. And then the other one was when I had my youngest son. I was with him when he killed his first deer, and they were coming across the field, and it was a buck and a doe. And he was youth season, so I said, son, which one do you want to shoot? And of course I knew what he was going to say. He said, I want to shoot the buck, Daddy. I said, all right. I said, well, the one, it looked like a basket rock 8-pointer. Ended up being a 7. Well, I told him, I said, slow your breathing down. You're good. And he turned broadside. I said, put it right behind his shoulder and pull the trigger. He pulled the trigger. That deer mule kicked. So I knew it was a great shot. I watched him through the binoculars. He fell down in the field. And, my son, Aaron, he's saying, did I get him? I said, yeah, you got him, buddy. He said, where'd he go? I said, he's down in the field. And I could hear it in his voice. And I turned around and looked. And he is literally, he is shaking. He is shaking like he's got on a pair of booty shorts and a crop top standing on the Antarctica. He was shaking. And he said, I said, buddy, you got him. I said, you see that white spot? I said, he's done. And he said, Dad, are you supposed to shake like this? I said, yes, sir, you are. And he said, you don't. I said, oh, yes, I do. And I told him, I said, buddy, I said, let me tell you a little advice. I said, the day you stop shaking like that, stop hunting, because it's no longer fun anymore.
Oh, man, I was shaking Saturday from that big doe that I shot in the morning. I was
Right?
excited. I mean, first deer of the year, but man, I was pumped up when she went down.
The
Oh
whole
yeah.
point is, it gets our blood pumping.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, there's something primal about going out and harvesting your own food, whether, and I know that's not some of everybody's favorite terminology, but, even when you have that close encounter, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like there's so many times I'm in my tree stand and you're in that standoff because, you're losing daylight, and I can remember, just last year being in a stand and you're hoping they come within, that deer comes within shooting distance and archery. You can see them, but the sun's going down. And the longer you sit there and the longer you wait, the more your knees are shaking, you
Yep.
know,
Yeah.
Yep.
and the old ladder stand starts to rattle a little bit. It doesn't help matters, but that's what it's about, man. Trying to
Yeah.
keep composed and, yeah. There's nothing like, one of the comments, there's nothing like, nothing that compares to being with your kid when they have their, their early success, because
Yeah.
that early success plays into them falling in love with being outdoors and hunting and fishing or
Yeah.
whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I got my 11-year-old who just got her license and she's getting ready to go out this year. So
This is her
we're
year,
going
man.
out. Yeah, man, we're going out Sunday morning to start shooting the black powder gun, the muzzle loaders, because the early season comes in the 17th of October. So
Nice.
we're gonna try to get her out for that, and then get her shooting the 308 because youth day is 2 Saturdays after that. So
Nice. Good
yeah,
luck.
yeah, man. Thanks. We're
When do
gonna.
you guys
Yeah.
when do you guys open up down there to get rolling? I know you say you're getting itchy to get in the tree stand.
We open up this Saturday for archery season.
Same here in
Yeah.
PA. Same here in
Yeah.
PA. So
We open up this Saturday. Now I don't know if I'm going to make it out this weekend. We had a really bad run with some unfortunate circumstances with our pets in the past month. So I've had to take on a couple side jobs to take care of that. So I don't know if I'm going to make it out this weekend or not. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to try.
Right on.
well, we're all, I'm jealous because these guys are in Maryland and I'm in PA, and they get to start like a month before us, so they're sending me
Yeah.
pictures of sunsets in the tree stand, and I'm just
Yeah.
waiting for this Saturday to start.
Maryland
There
wants
you
all
go.
the deer dead. They're like, here's your chances. Go kill them all.
Go get them,
Need more
boys.
Yep.
tags?
Well, technically here in the city I live in, we've already been in for a month. I've been hunting actually for a month because I'm not able to pull back a compound bow anymore from a shoulder injury from years ago. So I use a crossbow. I have no qualms about it, but I've actually been hunting for the past month because was it last year? No, year before last. I only killed 3 deer, and they were all out the back door at my shop. All three
Great.
of them were out the back door. So I've
Hey,
been
do your
hunting
thing,
for a
man.
month. I just haven't
Long
seen
drag.
any. Yeah, no drag, no dragon.
Bingo. Bingo. This deer right here. I don't know if you can see him. I killed that right in my backyard.
Yep. Ain't
Yeah,
nothing
they're the
better.
best. They're the best.
Because we have urban archery season here in Stanton, Virginia. So they start, like I said, they start a month earlier, and I think they go up until March. I think it's March.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got
Wow.
some different areas in the state that are, like you said, that heavily populated area, and they get an early start on it as well.
Okay.
Go
And
ahead,
then
Chris.
also, go ahead.
Johnny, as last couple minutes here, buddy. What's your favorite tradition or superstition, if you have any?
Well, back to the whole tenderloin thing. A tradition for me is if I kill a deer in the morning or even in the evening, it doesn't matter. A tenderloin comes out, a backstrap comes out of that deer that day, and it gets cooked. That is a tradition that I will not break.
Bingo.
Awesome.
Same.
Yep.
I mean, that's the exact same at my house. What do you do with it? You just salt, pepper on a hot pan, or you season it a certain way? You filling it with cream cheese like my man Ron?
Come on.
And we are no way, shape, or form sponsored by this company. But since I got turned on to Reload Rub and Seasoning, I don't use anything other than Reload Rub and Seasoning. You take Reload Rub and you put Magnum on that tenderloin, you can't beat it. I don't even keep garlic powder, onion powder, season all anymore in my house except for to do deer jerky. And like I said, we are no way, shape, or form sponsored by them. But you all try Reload Rub and Seasoning, and you put Magnum on the tenderloin or a steak, you'll never use anything else.
All right, consider me ordering a bottle right now.
That's
Yep.
a good plug right there.
Okay, if you do order it, when you ask you for a promo code, you punch in TITW, which stands for Tattooed in the Wild. You'll get 10% off at checkout.
Oh, all right.
That applies to anybody that's watching.
Josh, when we worked for Meadows, did we have a store in Staunton? Did they have one down there?
No, I don't think so. No, they only had one store in West Virginia, and that's in Harpers Ferry, and they didn't open that until, God, right before I left in 2014.
Where you live at now, Johnny?
Stanton, Virginia.
Yeah, there's not one down there. I thought there might have been one. Josh and I used to work for a big nursery and garden center company called Meadows Farms, and they have a bunch of those all over Virginia.
Yeah, Winchester, Leesburg, all over the place.
I don't think we have a Meadows around here. The name's not ringing a bell to me.
Random thought.
Yeah.
Random. These are what we call rabbit trails. We go down them from time to time.
Oh, we make a lot of left turns here on our podcast.
So Johnny's representing the Average Joe's Hunting Podcast, but he does have Kris and Mike that run with him. Great guys. We got to meet them, when we were on the show, and certainly you guys have been, invited you in to participate and hang out with the Tracks and Tackle collaborative group, and hopefully get to meet some of the cool people. Sounds like you are building those bridges and meeting some cool guys through that. So it's our pleasure to connect with you, and we'll have to do this again and get Kris and Mike on a day or a schedule that works for them. But you held the fort down pretty good, brother.
Well, I try. I mean, I like to talk, and just like you were talking about how you build these bridges. I mean, hell, look, we're here. I mean, I met you guys through this little rinky-dink podcast that we have, and dude, I've been having a ball. The people that you meet is I mean, it's phenomenal, man. It really is. And I will apologize. Sometimes I have a hard time keeping up with everybody. You know what I mean? I'm sure y'all know the same thing.
Yeah.
We can relate.
You have guests on, and you try to keep up with everybody every day on social media, and then with work and everything, it's hard to keep up with everybody.
None of us are doing this for a living. We're doing this for fun. And
that's exactly right.
You and Mike and Kris, you say like you hang out with them and you got these great relationships. So that's sort of what we've got here. We got a couple of different brands, but we promote one another, and we talk to one another, almost every day, probably do talk to each other most days of the week.
I walked away from my phone today for like 20 minutes and I come back down and there's like 12 texts, videos, pictures, dates, and I'm like,
sorry.
Nobody's getting no work done during the day.
Did something happen?
All right. No, Kris, I want to do something fun real quick. Okay. So okay. Ron hasn't heard all of our stories. Johnny's never heard any of our stories. I'm going on his show next week. So I'm going to let you choose the first one that I tell. Should I tell the double down eights that got cigarettes smoked?
Yeah.
Or should I, or should I tell the doe and the dead brother?
You got to tell both of them, but you got to tell the doe one first.
Okay.
I wasn't a doe.
Okay.
It was my one-horn unicorn.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I killed
it's a horny doe.
The story. I killed. I killed probably an 8-year-old buck. It had one just mangled, busted up horn, no teeth. It was gray as an old tank from World War II. He'll tell the rest of the story, but I spooked it and it jumped and it was almost like, you got me. It's my time. And just stood there and looked at me.
Those are cool too. Those old deer.
Tell that one first and then tell the other one. That's what I would do.
All right. Okay.
So
the cool thing is about us sitting here talking about this, you just telling us about that doe, that the doe dead brother, or what was it?
Yeah, I called it the doe and the dead brother, but
yeah, but we could sit here and tell stories all night. You know, I had one of my buddies, Colby, on. You know, he was on. I don't remember his episode, but I've been hunting with him for 26 years, and he called me one morning. He said, "Johnny, I just shot the biggest doe I've ever seen in my life." And I'm like, "All right, well, we were out in the mountain. This is back long before you had good cell phone service. You know, we were on walkie-talkies, and I walk up to it, and I'm like, damn. I said, that is a big-ass doe. I walked over to it, and he was relatively new in hunting. I mean, really new. And because I gutted his deer for him, and I grabbed a hold of the leg and went to go start gutting it. I went,
see where this is headed.
That ain't no doe. That ain't no doe.
I said, this bitch got balls. I said, hold on here. So I walked up and I grabbed its head. This buck had maybe a half-inch of antler on one side and nothing but a nub on the other side.
Wow.
And I put my hands in its mouth. It had no teeth in its mouth. This buck was so old. So as a joke, I took the skull plate off of this deer after he left, and I mounted it onto a freaking plaque from Walmart, and I had it engraved. Colby's first buck, and I gave it to his wife, and she gave it to him for Christmas. That's a true story.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Well, Johnny, where can folks find you? It sounds like Josh is going to be on soon. Yep. It sounds like Cody's going to have an episode coming out soon. Shout out to Cody. Where can folks find you if they want to follow the podcast or follow you?
Just go to Instagram, and it's Average Joe's Hunting Podcast. I know you all will probably have our logo up for your your podcast story, or what's it called? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we'll put
YouTube
some art
link.
up.
Yeah, we'll have
put some art up. We've already shared some stuff on YouTube and different places, but go to Average Joe's Hunting Podcast and you'll find them. Yep.
And I think it's average_Joe's_hunting_podcast. We just have Instagram. I don't have Facebook yet or anything like that. We've just been plugging along, and believe it or not, it's been over a year and a half now. So we're having a ball with it, man.
Well, have fun, man. That's the biggest thing. Like you said, I mean, we're pretty much in the same boat. This is episode 93 for the Tracks and Tackle podcast. So we got to think of something cool to do for the 100th episode. But we've been at it for, going on 2 years here, and a little over 2 years. And it's been fun. We've been meeting a lot of cool guys and building out this community online. So appreciate everybody that stopped in, checked in, and was hanging out with us tonight. We got a lot of comments on the live in the chat. So hopefully we've addressed all of those. And any final questions or final words from you, Josh?
I don't have any questions. Nope. I just want to, throw them at another plug, man. Listen to this dude's podcast. It's awesome. It's captivating. It's you guys want to listen to some cool stories from some real people. It's a good listen, man.
Appreciate it.
Kris, what you got, man?
Nothing, man. Same thing, man. I just enjoy it. And, for me, a show like yours is just fun because to me, and you guys said it, I mean, it's an escape. You guys are just telling fun stories. You're meeting people. And, I'm not saying this because you're here. I told Josh, hit this guy up, check out his podcast. That's the kind of stuff that I want to be involved in. So keep it up, bro. It's
me too.
Gnarly.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and we can't thank you all enough for having me on, and I'll get you all with Kris and Mike, and maybe get them on too. So, because if it wasn't for those guys, I probably would not still be doing it. So I got to give my hats off to them. They hate that they couldn't make it, but I've got to give them props. They're the ones that keep me going too. And you guys, like people like you, giving us compliments and stuff like that, man. It means a lot. So I appreciate you having us on.
Yeah, no, it's
buddy.
fun.
Sure.
I mean, I could say the same thing about these guys. It's so much easier when you get a group around you. And you're having fun with it. So hang on with us. Don't hang up yet, Johnny. But we're gonna roll the credits, and appreciate all you guys out there that have been tuning in. Thanks for your contributions. We remind you that nature is our playground, and always remember to stay wild. We'll see you next time.
See ya.